Hi guys, and welcome to our first family video. Hopefully it'll be the first of many. Today is the 12th of May 2020, and it's the day before my mom's surgery to remove her cancer. So we're gonna talk through a few things and also just let you know how we're feeling. And yeah, should we say our names?
Sure.
So I'm Tainita, I'm the oldest, I'm 23 years old.
Javier, I'm 18 years old.
19.
Going to be 19 this year.
No, I'm
Should
gonna
we
be
just
20.
Oh, 20.
That's cool. You forgot you see the stress. To talk about COVID stresses, that's
Yeah,
it.
19.
19.
We've witnessed the first stress of the family. And I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Deez.
And together we are our
Perumal family.
So how did we get here, guys?
Well, within the last week it's been hectic, but I think this has been a journey that you've been on for a little bit longer. My mom and I love the doctor. We love to go there. If anything's wrong, we're very quick to go to the medical side because we know that they're very good at what they do. And so for the past year, or maybe just a little bit over the year, she has been trying to figure out what's going on with her voice and her throat, and it's led us to where we are now.
And then we had a family doctor for how many years? Forever.
For almost like 20 years. She's been so great, and
She called last night. Yeah.
she sadly went into retirement, but she called us last night and she's in this journey with us. And Dr. Ismail, who my mom met late last year, has been such a pillar for our family, and honestly without him we wouldn't have known. And the new doctors that are going to come into our life, we're just so incredibly grateful for the medical staff and the sisters and the nurses and everybody who's just going to play such a big role in our lives going forward.
So, do you want to say something, Jay? Do you see her?
Yeah, I think maybe we, as a family, we want to also acknowledge Vanessa's bravery, her courage, her determination to beat this. Like she says, beat or pray the devil out of her. This cancer. And
It's politicians.
and we're very confident about the procedure tomorrow. We know all is going to go well. The recovery will take a little longer than we would have hoped. But such is life, and Vanessa will come out with a far stronger and louder voice after this.
The journey from Saturday, JB. We in COVID-19. Tell them the journey from Saturday.
I'll talk and then Joby can just add, okay? So on Saturday we got the news that it's called chromosarcoma. We have a name for it.
Chondro.
Chondrosarcoma. We have a name for it. It's one of the rarest cancers in the world, with just over 6,000 people getting diagnosed, and even fewer of those 6,000 have it in their throats or vocal cords. When we found out, I literally said this, it's not just for a Facebook post, I literally said it to her. I said, Mom, you are in the top 1% of everything that you do. You are so brave and you're so strong, and you stick out and you don't blend in with the rest. And even with your cancer, you had to get the one that was the most rare. And
So that's my annoying habit. I hope you guys can hear me. You know, it's been a tough... I didn't want to do this interview. It's been a tough few days. Initially, I was supposed to have gone into hospital on the 6th of April because they diagnosed my voice or vocal palsy as spasmodic dysphonia. And in the period that we had been testing for a year, every time I went to the ENT, there was never a damn cancer. And he would say to me, I know there's something there, but it was never conclusive. And as I was on the operating table to do the Botox and the scan, on the 7th of May, at about 4:30, I think, we were in surgery. And so if you know the work I do and you know JT Communications, at some point we elevate ourselves to work at a level of mastery. So that's why, as an agency, we're 16 years old. We almost have an out-of-body experience as a team. And Ayub will tell you, Z will tell you, Rami, Jessica, Jameson, a lot of people who have worked for me or worked with us, and Isabel and Judah here now. Kosi, we approach PR and communications scientifically. And so we go deep into it. Like we look at what's the mobilization strategy, what's the audience development, what is the data analysis. And it seemed like my whole life of being a journalist and filtering information led to that point when Dr. Ismail, who's quite short by the way, Dr. Khalil Ismail, all in scrubs, and me with my hospital gown. And on that bed, I was no longer a mom. I was no longer a wife. I'd elevated myself back into that space that JT Comms operates into. And I left myself as a human being. And I looked into his eye. And I said, are you worried? He said, I found what did he say? He found the growth. He found the growth. And I looked him in the eyes of one professional to another. And this time when I looked at him with all my education, all my knowledge, everything that some people think I'm a show off to reference when I'm dealing with fact. And I made it scientific. And I said to him, are you worried, doctor? And he said, yes, Vanessa, I am very worried. And so I found my fear leave me because I elevated my thinking to operate at optimum. Do you think it's cancer? He said, there are 3 scenarios. 1, it could be malignant. 2, it could be benign. 3, it could be a growth. Are you worried, doctor? Yes, I'm very worried. Hold on, he says. I think we can do an FNA quickly in the hospital. With COVID-19, it's really hard. And so, I actually can't believe I'm doing this interview. I'm normally so worried about how fat I am, whether I've got makeup. But anyway, let me just go on. He said the FNA will probably give you enough sample for a biopsy, but it's not conclusive. And then I came home, you guys.
So we have a family group, a WhatsApp group where we share everything from fighting to the price of bread to
The 4
milk.
of us here.
And my mom didn't message on that group when she wanted to come home. She messaged my dad separately. And she was so brave when she told us. She sat us down in the kitchen and she factually told us what Dr. Ismail had found, and she said he found a growth and they didn't operate, and we're going to call Wesley, who's my mom's cousin. He's a doctor in Canada, and we're going to do a Zoom call, and we're going to tell everyone
what we found out
up until this point. She spoke us through the scenario of her going back into the hospital for the FNA on Friday, and then if that didn't work, then the scenario of her going into hospital on Monday to do an operation where she would have gotten a track, and they would have cut a hole here to preserve her airwaves and get a more conclusive biopsy. We cried, and I was a mess, and I was crying.
Did you cry?
And I don't know if JB cried.
Cried? He cried.
And JB cried.
So what they don't know is, and it's an important thing to do, so then I elevated myself on the bed and I withdrew to my human self. And they my friends, my kindred spirits, they my cousins, but we're a group. First we're a group of 5, and then we grew up to about 8 women from, as apartheid South Africa does it. Indians lived in one area, so we are Indian women in that particular group of that period of my life. And we have maintained relationships into our 50s. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to achieve. So I wrote to Mani and Sa, my cousins, and I said, and because I needed people who were strong enough for me, because I became weak. And I said to them, you asked what I wanted, and I need you to be very brave and strong. I need you to say nothing and don't phone me. I need you to be strong for my children. And I need you to come to the Zoom conversation. Before that, I spoke to Deez, and it was like clinical. Are you alone? I said, take the phone and go out of the room and come get me from Parkland Clinic. And I said to him, we've got to tell the children, Tenita is a mess. You'd never say she's a damn master's in entrepreneurship student, because she becomes so emotionally needy. If I cut my finger, if I have a migraine, why do you do it?
I love you in my bones.
So these two know me from my soul inside. And they micromanage me. I run this bloody global company. And I travel around the world, and I speak in international conferences. And I give speeches at weddings, and I manage revolutions. But when these two are around, they don't even let me put a visa form in. They treat me like an invalid. Like, don't let mom carry the bag. So it's like, guys.
So then she did all of that. Friday came. She woke up in the morning, went with my dad, had a temperature of 38 degrees Celsius.
Was it Celsius?
38 Celsius, yeah.
And because we're talking about this in the COVID era, if you or your family are going through anything like this, you have to be so clear about getting your COVID test, about staying isolated.
So the anxiousness, I think, gave me 38. And the hospital wouldn't allow me. And that's why we're thinking this is a very, what's the word? Journey. It's a very spiritual journey we're on as a family. It meant at that point that I wouldn't be able to get into the hospital to do the FNA. And Dr. Ismail out of nowhere appeared, and I was able to. So get your
motivated.
Yeah, he motivated that I get in. But it's important to get your COVID testing. Sorry, we're all over the place, but we're gonna get there. That Friday's meeting was really hard. And so here's the second lesson we want to teach you. Because my kids are so needy and they want facts. You just can't bullshit them. They bloody want the facts. That's how they are. We have honesty amongst us. We just don't know. We don't
Lie.
lie. We don't pussyfoot
Play open
around.
cards.
We don't fabricate.
We don't fabricate. We don't open each other's mail. We don't steal from each other.
We know each other's pins.
We know each other's PIN numbers. They know my credit card details, but we don't steal. But we are authentically, and it's hard for me because they know everything about me. And I'm really scared of them. Like sometimes I'll write something on Facebook and I'll be so scared of Tenita, I'm going to delete it. That's how scared I am of her. But they wanted to be in on the phone call. And what did we do, Tees?
Yeah, so then the doctor did a conference call from inside his rooms where Vanessa was. I was waiting in the car because I had taken her. The kids were here at home. Javier doing his computer games, Tenita busy with her assignments. And so we had a conference call and then we had a discussion. He explained to us what they found, what they were deciding, the way forward,
The worst case.
worst case scenario.
Which is what I'm going for tomorrow, is the worst case scenario. That's what makes this hard for me. What's the worst case scenario, Tees?
Yeah, so the worst case scenario was to say you're gonna remove the whole voice box, or what they call
Laryngectomy.
laryngectomy. So your vocal cords and that are removed, and they insert and they what do you call it? Cut the windpipe and make it come out the front of your throat, just under your Adam's apple. And they insert a valve into the pipe, and then there's another cover on the outside of your neck that's able to regulate the airflow so that you are able to talk with this device in your throat. Your voice will obviously not be exactly as it was before, but at least you get comfort in the fact that it is your own voice, but it will sound slightly different. It's not some kind of electronic voice or computer generated voice. It's a voice that comes out of your own throat or your own body.
So now I think, because we need to move this video on, because my operation's at 12, we're hoping to send this to you in the morning so you'd have enough information. So for us to function in a COVID-19 era, so I spoke of my earlier friends, and then we are a global family in a Pan-African world, proudly South African. And so we decided to approach this in the most Ubuntu way we knew, in a COVID-19 social distancing. We knew mentally we will never survive on our own. It was too big a load. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It was really too big a load. And so let me tell you some things about myself, because I'm going for help. I grew up in Actonville, Benoni, and we'd gone to the Reformed Confession Church, which, as you know, is where Wombe, Reverend Frank Chikana, Alan Busak, etc. Yeah, Wombe. So we come from a lineage of very progressively humanitarian, liberated, wanting to see the dawn of liberation in South Africa. apart from that, I've always been in the struggle. So social justice is very important to me. And so my kids have never seen us as Indians. We travel around the world and they go, "You're Indian," and we say, on what basis? What do we say to them?
They say, hell no.
We're African.
Yeah, we're African. We're South African.
And they go, "But your hair is Indian," and we say, "But we are South African." So we knew we needed the dynamic family. And they include a number of parts. One,
Our church circles.
yes, because we are church people, although we have a diverse marriage. Are you Christian or Hindu?
Doesn't matter now. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we have diversity. What did we say? We went to the Christian network is one. Two is our family. My mom, my brother and sister, my cousins, my Aunt Beulah, Jesus' family, Ushan and his dad. They became one unit. Then our friend circle. And in the last 30 years, our circles, our professional, our industry friends, our community friends. So we have a diverse range of people, and we are so blessed. It was a very big decision to go public. But by the time I went to bed on Sunday night, was it Sunday night? Tell you that
Yes.
we were falling apart. And in that evening, we decided to, for my sanity, I decided to do this journal. Because I can't have thinking time alone. It's to have such an overwhelming cancer. To live in such uncertain times. And to have my children lonely and socially isolated wasn't going to work for me. Was it going to work for you guys? Did you all need me to do the blog?
I think we needed you to do it for your sanity. And to allow us to also create
Contribute.
community around ourselves. You allowing us to share your story allowed us to be brave, allowed us to open up our circles. My mom has raised us in a home that the door is always open. JV and I are lucky enough to experience people from all different walks of life. Our home is a place of warmth and a place of refuge and safety. And for us to be alone during this time is difficult. But her opening up and sharing her story allowed so many people into our homes through messages and texts and video calls and WhatsApp messages and prayers. Believe you and me, we can feel your prayer around us. We feel it. And we don't feel alone.
What we didn't expect on the blog on Sunday night. In a billion years is the overwhelming love. It's a lot. It's too much for one family to receive and for one human being to accept. It's a lot. It's a friggin' lot, guys. It's like a whole new level of strategy here.
I think maybe it's like when you say I need a loaf of bread and you get 100 loaves.
Yeah.
You don't know how to
It's like the floodgates
accept
open.
it here.
It's like the floodgates of heaven is opened. The only reason I'm accepting, or some of the reasons I'm accepting this cancer, because we are people who serve.
Bluetooth cancelled.
What's that noise?
Okay.
Okay, let me start. The reason, I don't think I'm in denial of the cancer, but the reason it's easiest for me to accept the cancer. At one point on Saturday, when Dr. Ismail called, and this is not a medical opinion, in the afternoon he needed to verify all the facts, because it's been a whole year of testing, and he said it's such a rare cancer. Why it is?
Well, I think so, because it's a cancer of the cartilage,
Yes,
and
yes.
more often than not, it is, or I don't think they've had a case in South Africa, but because it's a cartilage, often people get it in their hip, in their pelvis, in their knee, maybe on their elbow. He says he doesn't know, or he hasn't encountered one that is in the throat, or in the throat area.
But more than that, it doesn't respond to radiotherapy. It doesn't respond to chemotherapy. But I'm going to say isolated. I don't think that's the right word.
Localized.
Localized.
It's a
And slow
localized
growing.
cancer, and it's slow growing.
And he said to me, and let me tell you where I heard him. I switched back to my, I'm a crazy strategist. One of the things you didn't know about JT Communications is over the years we've turned over millions in rands. So we are highly successful, even though we are so. It's because we seldom need to look for work. So we operate in a realm of excellence and mastery, and a lot of covert work. So from the World Cups to music markets to ministerial stuff. And I heard this fix when Dr. Ismail said, it's going to be documented for medical diagnostic testing. That's how rare it is. And what I appreciated about Dr. Ismail, he said, I'm not equipped to do this when I went there at Park Lane. I need to assemble the best team, because in case it's thyroid cancer or whatever kind of cancer, and my team will be Professor Alan Crane and a number of associates. And by then my cousins, I have two cousins who are doctors, I'd consulted, and I had a prospective client in New York, and I'd been cross-referencing with the three of them. And they said these are the finest doctors. And so my pity party came to an end. And I'm not a really good Christian as Christians go. Like we said at the back rows at church, we're not on the pastoral management team or in the strategy team. But I started looking at this like Jesus would. Because Jesus was the most supreme human rights activist that I know of in my lifetime. And so Jesus, his compassion for humanity, at that point lifted me, and I thought, having gone through racist Israel to do the Jesus Mile, and which took me into Palestine, and I saw how difficult it must have been in that day, I said to my kids, you know what? I'm okay for my body to be used as a vehicle if it's going to serve humanity. And in that moment, I took my thinking to a level of, I've been in a place. My brother said, Vanessa, when he was here on Sunday, he said, you've been blessed more than most people in 10 lifetimes in your short lifetime. You have won numerous awards. You have traveled widely. You have friends that people don't have in a lifetime. You have networks who love you. And so when I had the opportunity to think that this cancer can document work. So I have a saying, I've won 1 or 2 awards, and I like to say, let it be the generation that can be the change for the African child we will never see. In apartheid South Africa's legacy has been so poor for me. And the greed and corruption that came after our liberation has been so annoyingly painful. And my life's work has been because everybody can only do so little. I only have one skill. I studied media. And being part of the struggle, I knew the importance of data and mobilization. And so looking at this case study, to say, what if my op enables the medical team of South Africa in Africa to position our knowledge base in global markets as among the best in the world? Surely it's one way of changing the African narrative. Because I do take offense that we try to tell an African story from a source that's not original. The Sunday Times journalist phoned me today. They want to do a whole story on this. And I said to them, I'm sick and tired of seeing the covert poverty stories only. The more we see the poverty narrative, the lower our rand goes, the more someone else benefits it. So we need an alternate media. And is that true? Do you guys think so?
Yeah.
And so this is a COVID-19 story. And we are living in the heart of the northern suburb. Very, very few black families that are able to achieve this. Or have been able to manage to get in here, because it's so many barriers. But I have learned through my cancer that you can be the change you want to see. I've written to my neighborhood group, and I said, the Sunday Times journalist asked me what do my neighbors saying, and I thought, I don't even know my neighbors if they got dogs or cats, or do they have children? Have you seen the neighbor? That side we know. The side we've never seen. Across the road we don't know. And this is me living 26 years in the suburbs. So this diary, this particular one, is to tell you how positively responsive this beautiful Craigold suburb is responding, from grocery vouchers to can we drop a meal to I've had cancer, Vanessa, in COVID, and I didn't see that coming. It's an amazing, beautiful story of how people have rallied around us. What have your experience been?
I think when we found out, I thought if we were not in COVID, this would have been so much easier. We could have had people come over and people hug us and lay hands on us and just be here in the present. But I learned that the spirit, the human spirit, is so much stronger than physical boundaries and barriers. And I felt more love in the last few days than I felt in a long time. I've got friends' parents walking to our house to pray outside. I've had aunts and uncles reach out to me. My mom's friends phone us, and my brother's friends' moms phone us, and it's been miraculous.
Nadia Neofito from New York is pumping us. Audrey Brown from BBC. Joanne Joseph this morning said to me, listen, my groups are going, they're praying. Promised Labidino from SABC. So my media networks, my music industry friends, I have a mentoring group in Sistina Mshlopen, Sibongile Kumalo. I've called on Nick Mutsatsi, I've called on my prayer warriors, Pops Mohammed. But my anchor, the reason I went to Facebook, is because I may not know people on that platform, but I live on Facebook. If I'm not getting paid to tweet, if I'm not getting paid to be on LinkedIn, because I find such humanity. Of course, we fight, a lot of people have blocked me. But I'm telling you, the outpouring of love has been incredibly...
Overwhelming.
Yes. I saw Tees crying this morning.
And she's asking why. It's like, for me, I got so overwhelmed because, and I was asking her, did you count how many messages or how many people responded? And then we were just trying to do a rough estimate with Tanita, and I think in one day there was more than like 250 odd messages a day.
And we're over like
Hey?
400.
Yeah,
Nowadays over 400. But I think the best thing for Vanessa's sanity was creating
the blog.
this, the blog, to be able to document it. And Vanessa is always about sharing and telling stories, so that other people can learn, experience, share, and promote positive stories of our African people.
Definitely. I think also just something that we need to highlight as we go in, because I think you guys need to know where her headspace is at during this operation. We'll ask JV what he said to her, because choosing to do the operation was difficult.
When I heard that one of the outcomes, because we prayed, remember, Jesus is not going to allow this. All my friends said, we got it, we're going for this. We're going for this cancer. And JJ, do you want to talk now? You can do it. JJ is a gamer, he only talks to his gaming friends.
But he'll just tell you what he said to my mom when she was crying in the car over a voice box, over a voice that she's known.
He said, you're crying, you're going to have a whole year, but you're going to be alive.
And as her kids, we would rather have her be alive than any other outcome. And like she said, we are trusting God for a miracle, because He is so, so good. And Jesus is so all around us. And what we know that in that operating room, Jesus is going to be all around that. God is going to intervene at every moment He can.
Yes.
And we are coming after you, Cancer. We are. Her warriors are knocking at your door.
And I've got a sisterhood of friends. Vasu and Tiru and Auntie Santi and Bernard, Sanmani and Pops. On the one group, and I have Irisha and Tashan is my prayer warriors, and then I have Auntie SK and Auntie G. Auntie Yvonne also sent a message. And then we have Pastor Simon from the Every Nation Church I go to.
Pastor Siv from Every Nation Bryanston that I go to.
Pastor Ronald from
Gilgal East.
Rihanna Edwards and her whole Sufi Muslim communities. Last night, JV's friend Auntie Serena, Auntie Zinat, and she's got all of them during the fast and Ramzan. Shayla on Facebook. My Facebook friends are so, they like got us. Awesome. Auntie Roshni's got, my kids unfortunately grew up in the music industry. They lighting lamps. You see me just putting the lamp together. Waldo, my business network, say like, we got this covered. It was almost like a joke. It wasn't a joke. It just took me to the highest power level I can ever be on. I got this WhatsApp that said, we got you covered. Gilgal Ministries got you. Pastor Simon said, we got you. Rosebank, Every Nation got you. And I went to Facebook and they said, we got you, Sis V. The living legends got you. The LGBT community phoned me. Steve called me just now. We got you, V. The women's rights organization saying, V, we got you. Tanita's boss, she's Leanne. She's been working there for a while, said, we got Tanita, so she's got you. JV's friend said, you go to the hospital, we got JJ. My in-laws arrived today and they've got T's. Chet said I will break all COVID rules to get in front of this hospital. So as I end this interview,
I think before Vanessa ends the interview, I think when she was struggling, or when as a family we were struggling about what decision did we want to make, I think the story she was mentioning about crying in the car and JJ with her made up her, or helped her make up her mind, where his emphasis was, so what, you've got a hole in your throat, at least you're here with us.
all my friends, all the publicists, from Ty to Marang to Bridget, Diane Kutzer, who's in Netherlands, who's been on my team for years, we've worked together. All of you all have got me. I do not know how to say thank you. I want to wake up from this operation. So I'm asking you all to pray. Without Isabel is the marketing manager at JT Coms. I don't know how the hell she coped without us. We're a team. Of course, he's gone back to Durban. Judy's here. Let's talk of me as a businesswoman. It's really shitty when people don't pay you, and COVID has been hard. But I want to recognize M&S attorneys for being the pillar of decency as our key client. Just want the chairman, Mr. Ndlovu, and his team offer me hope to wake up from this bed, to know there's a better leadership for our country. And so this journey of mine, please pray for me. I ask that you hold me, my Faisal, Max, Bunker Brian, to my peers and mentors, to Nick, to Sibangidezu. Thank you for everything you do for me, to my mom, who's got a standard 3 education. I feel the pain of my brother and my sister. I feel the pain of my aunts and my cousins. But mostly, you be brave for me. And you be brave for me. And to these, it's not possible for one human being to have so much love.
But you are so loved.
You guys are fucking awesome. I have utmost respect for you. I rise because you rise. And I love you very, very much. And in COVID-19, as I'm in this hospital bed, South Africa and my friends got you. The doctors got me. I want my voice when I come out. If I don't have my voice, you will hear me. Please pray for my children and my family, for Dr. Ismail and the medical team. And I ask you, Jesus, for your favor in giving me life. Thank you, everybody, for following this journey.
Thank you, everyone.
guys.
If you are with us outside Donald Gordon at the moment praying, or if you are praying inside your houses, please pray with everything that you got. Because we love you so much, Mom, and we are so grateful for you. And we know that you got this, and we can't wait to see you when you come out.
Thinner.
But thank you, everyone, for loving us. thank you for listening to our story. We hope that it helped some people in some way to better understand. And we'll see you guys when we've recovered.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you, Jesus.